Hey, what's going on, team? It's Ricky with Learn Plan Profit. Hope that you guys are all having a good start to the morning. I'm going to have Weston join us today, or Weston is joining us today. So let me make this a little bit smaller. There we go, just so you guys could see him. But as of right now, trying to get a little bit more clear understanding of what's going on here. It looks like crude oil is a little bit more on the overbought side. Makes sense on why it's going to pull back. I just, again, want to simply remind you, market's been all over the place, especially with a lot of these commodities that we've been focusing on. And there's been a lot of inconsistent patterns. The volatility is not like it normally is. It is very aggressive right now. So a friendly little reminder, if you do not feel comfortable trading, especially this week with all the news, right? It's maybe a time for you to step away and just simply watch. There's nothing wrong with just that. And kind of see what we got going on. Even, I literally just took a trade right now just so you guys can check it out. It's $80 that I ended up taking a loss on, a very small dollar amount. But the point is, like, the direction continues to change. One of the things that and there it goes. It's actually now going according to and there it goes. I thought that DWT was, again, going to push up because I saw crude oil potentially sell off, and there it goes. It's actually selling off now, but it's just consolidating a little bit more than I'd like it to. And my primary focus that I'm trying to really, really refine is managing my risk, right? I felt like I did a good job yesterday. I want to do a good job today. So that's why I was just like, nope, it's not going according to plan right away, then I'm just going to cut it, right? And it wasn't a big dollar amount that I was in, so I wasn't too worried about that. There we go. Market just opened. Oh, I don't have the chat on. One quick second. I apologize about that. I was just like, why can't I see your guys' messages? Here we go. All right. Sweet. How are you guys all doing this morning? How are you guys feeling? Good? There it goes. Crude oil with the pullback. So like expected, again, I just sold. And let's see where it goes. So DWT is now trading around 385, 386. Nice little push up, right? There it goes. Crude oil still trending down. So from where I bought at 383 to where it's at right now, it's almost up about 1%. So again, it is now under $5. So I personally have found it to be almost less attractive. Just to be completely honest, I don't know. It's just kind of different, right? That it's now trading at such a low price point. So the market right now got me nervous. Yeah, if you feel uncomfortable, I agree, Jordan. There's a lot of volatility, a lot of uncertainty. It just means that should empower us to be that much more selective. That's the only way that I would view it. It's volatility is too high, no clear direction, it's all over the place. And guess what? You're the final decision maker on. There's no reason to overcomplicate it. You literally decide where you put your money. And if nothing meets your criteria, then let's keep it that simple. Then nothing deserves your money, right? And yeah, I mean, even if I end up having have a red day at $80 of a loss, let's be completely honest. That's not bad, right? And I'd rather have this type of loss than lose $1,000 or you guys get the point. Even $1,000 with that's 1%, still sucks, right? But there's very easy things, very little simple things that we can do to change our approach and how we approach with this overall volatility. If you think that I think that it's moving a little bit too aggressively, where it just aggressively sold off and then it's try to pick right back up and looks like they're gonna try to shoot up. So these movements are a little bit too much for me when it comes down to me. I just know I wouldn't feel this thing, in my opinion, is almost moving and there it goes, like a momentum stock. And I don't feel comfortable trading with $100,000 when I'm fully invested, when the volatility is this great. So, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, I just, don't feel like it, right? Joined LPP this morning. You guys are just, oh, appreciate that, Eric. Well, welcome to the team. This is Weston. Weston is the mentor within Flipping Wheels, and he's been doing his little swing trade challenge. So if you guys haven't checked out his YouTube channel, feel free to check him out. It's Weston Moore. He's one of the future channels on my YouTube channel. So here we go. I'm going to try to see if I can step away from crude oil. I want to hear you guys out. I want to hear what what it is that you guys are paying attention to. So, hey Ricky, how are you doing? I'm doing good, man. Appreciate you. Thank you. Let's see. Blaze, it's Wes. I am all natural gas. I like that. Okay. Are you all natural gas in favor of degas, UGAS, or you're indifferent? Do you not care which one it picks? I lost a little bit over 5% of my account. Okay. Isaac, I mean, even with the, with the volatility that's been happening the past couple of weeks, then it just means that you need to make sure that you're selective, right? And that we don't try to revenge trade to make back the 5%, that we're just empowered to, again, like work towards your goal. If your goal is still 1 or 2% a week, whatever that might be, just let's work towards that. Let's not just aggressively try to make it back, right? You guys, okay, I like that. I agree with you. I would be more for you guys than I would for D guys, but I don't know if the patterns are following. Do you get what I mean? Right now with this really aggressive sell-off, it almost brings up this uncertainty. So let's see. Do you get smaller on position size when the volatility is this high? John, that's actually exactly what I did. And I'm super happy that you brought this up. I was going to share it and I totally just blanked out, so I do apologize. But this is something that I wanted to share with you too. When the volatility is this like crazy, right? So it's just moving all over the place, and that's all it means, right? When it means that I'm fully invested with my desired position size, that means $100,000. But like a lot of you guys know that have watched me trade, I don't buy $100,000 at one time. I average out, but normally that would be at like $30,000 increments. I have found it based off of my success yesterday that when I would go in with $30,000 and the volatility, like, yeah, it can go in my favor, but just as much as it could go against me, right? And that's what I want to share with you guys. It's not just about what can potentially happen, but what can also go wrong. And I just saw that when I took my first position within the live trading session, I was down like almost $500 in a matter of like a couple seconds because it just didn't go according to plan. And then what I prepared myself to do is when I saw then that, crude oil was going to continue to uptrend, I went in with, $15,000 increments. So instead of $30,000, which is about 30%, I went in with $15,000, which is about 15%. And it means that as I got more confirmation, I wouldn't just continue to add in 15,000. It was more of my initial position size was sometimes $10,000. My initial position size was maybe $20,000. So I tried to stay at a smaller initial position size. And the reason why is because if the volatility is so great and it doesn't go according to plan, then my dollar amount at risk, right, is much less. And that's the whole idea. I wanted to feel comfortable and confident with what I was doing. So I wanted to make sure that my position size was then something that like I could work with. And it was just, a number that I made up. It doesn't mean that that's, that you have to take 15% or that you have to take a 10% position size. I just wanted to share that, hey, with volatility comes greater risk, right? And more uncertainty. I wanted to feel more comfortable. So what I did is I just lowered the dollar amount at risk on my initial position size. And I think that could maybe help some of you, at least hopefully one of you. But let me know what you guys think about that. Position size has been one of the best lessons I've had in the market. Denson, super happy to hear that. Yeah, I think like regardless of how like not emotional someone says they might be, I think for the masses at least, let's Denson, let's just say for you and I feel like I'm not a very emotional person, but when it comes down to trading, when it comes down to being put in that position, there's no question that like, it does drive emotion. And I think it's great or the best to potentially control it, right? Holy.
What in the world was it?
Man, I should have held UWT. U.S. stock waiver as oil prices retain gains. This was released, what? A minute ago.
Wow.
Wow. Look at that. Dude.
That's a lot.
Dude, this is huge. Look.
It's like 4 or 5%.
6%. Look at that. DWT wants its money back. Because I had a huge sell
Yeah,
off
I saw
yesterday,
that.
right?
Like, huge.
I mean, I expected somewhat of a recovery, not so dramatic like this. This is just like different, you know? Wow, dude, just look at it rip. People are either, look at that.
I know.
People are either just like killing it right now or
It's like not a good
draining
time to
their
get
accounts.
in, though, right? It's too crazy.
wow. Dude, that's 10% almost. Just a little heads up for all those that are in it, right? Don't be afraid to follow with a trailing stop loss, something like that, right? So just to make sure that you lock in profits. So crazy. Well, it's gonna be pretty cool for those that actually like this movement alone. Like if you think about it, the market yesterday. Think about this. The market yesterday opened up 30%, and at its peak, not the market. I apologize. UWT opened up 30% in the green. And then its highest point was like 42 or 43%, if I'm not mistaken. So think about that. The actual difference that it experienced when the market was actually open was about 10 to 12%. And that took all day. This thing literally just did it in
2 minutes.
Yeah.
I ain't missing. I mean, you can't even predict that.
This is not something that would have been
predictable.
Yeah, it's news. And this is why we made the emphasis of, there's so much news that is being shared right now that technicals can only do like so much in this current market condition. I don't even know what to like. It's just, dude. Even if I was in with the $15,000.
Dang it! American Airlines pushed up like it.
Yeah. Oh.
That's what that guy said. No.
Yeah.
Crazy.
What's going on, Super Snake? What's up? Play pullback on DWT no. I mean, if you're asking if we're gonna play like a potential UWT pullback, I'm not gonna touch it. I think it's super cool, and for all those that accept the risk, right, of going in with that volatility, as of right now, I would rather chill out for a little bit, and there it goes. I mean, 100%, I would be able to, right? I would be able to play it as like a momentum play and then follow with a trailing stop loss of some sort, right? Those aren't the type of plays that I personally partake in, right? Especially when something was so oversold and now so overbought. I understand that as long as this news continues to get released, it can continue to drive the price down. But yeah, I wouldn't feel comfortable with it. So I just would rather not try to see. I'd rather try to feel comfortable with the trades that I take, especially this week. Correct. Eric, even with this is not something that you have to understand. Something that influenced this was a form of news, right? And it's an effort to recover the loss that like the surplus in demand for crude oil yesterday. It's trying to bring that back. So if you and we expected this, like that. I think there was a lot of talk yesterday that um, there's about a 40% change on like UWT or a 10% change on crude oil itself. But at the end of the day, like it should have not been this much, right? There's a very good example that was given that like regardless of which side the market goes, there's either always like a mass amount of buyers or a mass amount of sellers, right? So there's always this like overhype behind either way that it goes, and I would definitely say that based off how aggressively it sold off, you could see that crude oil did become super overbought. But that's besides the point. It like takes time, and just with how aggressively it was selling off, I just didn't want to partake in that, and there it goes. So,
My gosh.
right? Did natural gas get influenced by this at all? Nope. Gold? I don't think so. /NQ. Oh, when was this? Yeah, I would say that. Ooh. This shot up a little bit more. Look at that. Wow. Dude, this within itself, like,
Mm-hmm.
this is so crazy. 12%, pushing on 13%. The 40% increase, the 40% increase yesterday, that was on UWT, which was the inverse of this. So if you go to UWT and you see the change, if you go to like the 5-day, 5-minute chart, you can see the change that it went from here to up here. And that's the change that we're talking about. It went to like 40, 43, 44% and stuff like that. So this is pretty much it correcting itself in a sense, right? Look at that. Look at that. Like that's like unreal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna tell you one thing. If we do begin to see a consistent uptrend pattern when things begin to like cool off on DWT, right? If I begin to then see a consistent pattern like we then began to see yesterday for crude oil, right, where there's just this consistent uptrend, then it would make sense, right? Because there's this clear direction. As of right now, like I would play that. I would not play this where there's all this volatility and you can tell that the volume is out of the roof. Those are my plays. I'm not saying that they're not worth playing. Of course that they are, right? I just find them to be at greater risk. And appreciate that, Craig. Thank you. I don't know if you guys heard what Craig said, but he was just saying that Saudi oil output will return to normal faster than initially anticipated. Okay, that's good. So pretty much that it's gonna correct itself quicker than it anticipated, right? So that's good news for DWT holders, and that means that then crude oil it's not gonna be in such high demand for as long as expected, right? Locked in some profits on DWT. Thanks, Ricky. Randy, I didn't do anything. It's all you putting yourself in that position, right? So if you put yourself in a position for success, please do me your biggest favor. And as you can see, it could have gone either way, right? They could have said that, and think about it this way. They could have said that, hey, crude oil is actually going to take longer than expected to recover, and this would be the exact opposite, right? So because of that, you need to make sure that you do your part in setting yourself up for success on both sides, both for locking in profits and as well as for cutting losses. You guys know that I think that's why our video yesterday, within a very short period of time, got a lot of positive feedback because I'm not just trying to hype something up behind like, hey, look, UWT is up 40%. I think it's great. But at the end of the day, you guys know that every single day I try to remind you about what I don't think enough people think about, and that's playing the defense, right? I hope that, I know I bug probably the crap out of you guys with how annoyed I am with lock-in profits, manage that risk, but I just know that those two areas, like those 2 points that I'm trying to make, are areas where I lacked in the most, and it's just in my experience. I just don't want you guys to lack in those areas if I can simply annoy you with it every single day, right? I want it to be in the back of your head every single day. I don't know. I don't know how I would feel about UWT. As of right now, due to its performance yesterday and this pullback today, now we're running on the news that it's not going to be as bad as expected. So I think we might, we'll probably correct ourselves a little bit on UWT, and then I think it'll slowly then begin to sell off, because if you think about it, the only thing that was really driving the price up on crude oil was the idea that the demand was going to be so great. So amazing, Teddy. I love that. Defense is the best offense. I like that. Yep. Appreciate that, Nicholas. D wins championships. Yeah, I like that. Look at Floyd Mayweather. No, just kidding.
Yeah, it's still true.
What's a good football team? The Patriots? Do they have good defense?
I don't watch football as much as I should.
I say like a
Especially not
basketball team. The Lakers, they play good defense, right? With football and that.
Yeah. A lot of touchdowns?
A lot of touchdowns. The Patriots dunk a lot, right? Oh, yes. We don't talk about it too much because I know not every platform has it, but I have a video talking about OCO brackets and the importance of it and stuff like that. So, great. I love that.
Dude, the market is wild right now.
Oh, appreciate you. Salty 3. I like that. Right? That's what it says. Did you say Lakers play defense? Oh no, it was a joke. I don't watch football. I mean, basketball. Sheesh, look at this. Nice little pop on natural gas. You guys are calling out all the good plays, right? My alerts haven't gone off on natural gas. I don't think they have. It's still, I wouldn't say a super clear direction, right? If I can, I wouldn't say that it's super clear yet. It has a nice push up, but still not the best. Crude oil, here it goes. Let's see if it could actually hold right above the overall EMA line. Do you ever trade stocks other than ETFs? Yeah, ones that I'm very familiar with. So I'll trade AMD and Tesla from time to time, depending on if I view them to be a good deal. And those are usually the ones that I'll swing trade. I've also looked into Shop, right, which is Shopify. But they need to offer something that the average, usually the stocks that I trade are not as easily influenced by the overall market. So if you've seen sometimes the market might be selling off, but Shopify is still, trending up. It could also be the other way. The market might be trending up, but then Tesla's still selling off. I just try to, the market isn't doing the best, right? Easiest way for me to put it. And because of that, I try to get more stocks that are less influenced by the market, because I feel more comfortable that the overall market and its direction of it potentially pulling back is not going to play against me. So I appreciate you asking that question though. I like that, Carlos. So 4 bedroom and 2 bedrooms. Okay. Oh, 2 bedroom, 4 bedroom, 2 bath. Okay. I had one, so I don't know if you remember, but I owned 2 houses right by next to one another, right? The house that I owned that I did not live in was a 4 bedroom, and I rented each room out to a student. in my experience, if you have the time, you can make more money renting it out per student, per room, but you also run the risk of it being more. Watch out. Crude oil is getting rejected potentially here. So let's see if we see lower lows, and that's going to be in favor of DWT. But I would say that if you're willing to put forth the time and the effort and willing to accept the risk of having 4 different lease agreements, right? You could make more money per room, right? Or if you'd just like to keep it simple, then maybe the other option isn't too bad. Look at that. Dude.
Well, all this stuff's doing crazy. Like, do you guys yesterday all of a sudden?
Right?
It's just scary.
Yeah, it's just like, because even if you do have a stop loss, that's something that you guys need to take into consideration. Like a stop loss,
still won't. Like,
it won't fill at your price.
Yeah.
It might fill
it's
like
too quick, right?
because of the
sudden.
push.
I might not be trading today, probably, unless.
I almost feel like I have to trade, but I'm just trying to hold back. Like we're calling out this like potential push up for it to potentially go back up to 430, and literally from what was this 420 to when we started to see that it was beginning to push to 430. That's 2.5%. That's beyond my daily goal, and we're gonna just watch it happen, like. But it's like
It could do the opposite too. Yeah.
Literally, and I just
so quick. It's scary for me when it's that quick.
Oh, there it goes. It looks like it's pulling back. Let's see. So Zach, I personally don't use that indicator. For the update, I will be talking about it. But it won't be a huge focus that I see value in. It's just it's not one that I try to focus on too much. But I know a lot of people that do, right? That do pay attention to it. So, yeah. So DWT is overextended. Is it worth it? Considering there are something right. So this is one thing that I do want to share. Kostas, I don't know if that's how I can pronounce your name. But I want to remind you, and I shared this in yesterday's video. Technicals can only do so much when the news is so present. If news continues to come out and influence the market, technicals just, patterns in a sense and like, previous support levels and all that stuff. It's just, this is when news takes over, right? Technicals take over when news becomes less relevant, when fundamentals, fall out. As of right now, I think it's good to look at indicators, but if you look at yesterday's performance with UWT was overextended all day until it actually began to pull back. So I would just say that, if there's any time to not rely on an indicator, now is definitely the time, especially when news is present. But I want you to understand why. We're saying that it's indicators have less weight on them when news or fundamentals take over, right? When news and fundamentals become less relevant, right? Kind of like when we trade the natural gas report or crude oil report. Once the hype and all that dies out, then technicals come back into action, right? Where's the best place to look up news regarding the overall market? So you could follow, there's a lot of services that offer, but you have to most likely pay for it and stuff like that. I'm not too sure if that's the approach that you want to take right away, Eric. You could follow with the little news section on the TD Ameritrade platform. When you follow /NQ, this is the overall future for NASDAQ. So if you go on news, you'll see everything that's coming up, and usually the NASDAQ and the S&P 500 are the ones that receive the most news that do have an influence on these different focuses that we have. So may I get your 2 cents on JNEG? Yeah, so okay. it looks overbought based off of just what we have going on right now. I wouldn't say the direction is super clear. It was selling off and then began to try to push up, and then as soon as the market opened, it pulled back, and now it's trying to push up. But it could also be making these like the lower highs, which ultimately means that it could then continue to sell off. Do you get what I mean? So I would say it's still in the very early stages to try to identify, is this thing going to continue to make higher highs? And if so, cool, then that's in favor of JNUG. Or is this going to begin to sell off, which then would mean that it's a descending pattern and in favor of JDST. So crude oil is consolidating right now. It looks like it's going to be trying to make a quick little recovery. So we'll see how that goes. So let's see. Carson, I mean, you're there's seasons, right? Seasons where certain commodities do well, and during certain seasons maybe when they don't, right? Due to supply and demand. Um, I wouldn't be able to tell you. Normally, natural gas, based off previous patterns, natural gas normally does well during winter because the overall consumption goes up. I was thinking about making a video due to just so people have a better understanding of supply and demand and keeping it super like beginner friendly. But Carson, like that like this occurrence with crude oil is a perfect example where maybe crude oil doesn't do well during. I'm not saying that it doesn't. I'm just saying maybe crude oil doesn't do well during winter months, right? But with this, just attack on the Saudi plant, right? How it could cut supply and then increase demand. And it doesn't matter what season it is because now there's different, factors that are taken into place. So normally, yes, patterns do tend to repeat themselves, but like we always say, they don't have to, right? And I think this is where we are really put to the test, where you can trade based off previous patterns. You shouldn't be scared for that. You should just, what can you do? What's one thing that you can do to try to like play against these occurrences that we can't control? Like this news report that was just released, we didn't know that crude oil was going to sell off. So what could you have simply done if you were in favor of DWT and you thought it was going to go up, or UWT and you thought it was going to continue to go up? What can you simply do to, play against that? It's not going to be a perfect trade, but you can set a stop loss, right? Just like you're saying, you can manage your risk. There's very little simple things that you can do, but when something like this happens, you can't get upset with yourself. You're just like, oh, like the market's against me. Like, trust me, it sucks, but it could have gone in your favor just as much as it couldn't. So this is why in yesterday's video, I tried to empower you. If you found someone within our chat down on the day, and you were up, to be there for them, because like, let's be completely honest, like you got lucky. If you held, not if you were playing it throughout the day, like that makes sense, but if you held it over the weekend, you could have not expected this 40% increase on UWT. So like just like they couldn't expect a 40% loss or 30% loss on DWT. So I just wanted to be that person to maybe try to reach out a hand, right, for those that might feel a little under the weather because of, trust me, like just imagine losing 40% of your account. Like it's crazy. It's absolutely ridiculous. So set yourself up for success, not just for the money you make and how much you plan to make, but to also, play with these patterns and have a plan for risk management. That's simple. Just as much as it could go up, it could go down. And I want you to understand, both sides. That don't just every single time that you think about the positives of what can go right, I want you to get in the habit of thinking, okay, but what could also go wrong? It's not just about one side or the other. It's you literally have two options. You could always play the ETF or the inverse ETF. So think about it that way. Okay. There was a couple articles a while back. This was about a year ago, where I believe it was actually in Texas, where they were burning off natural gas. Um, but I wouldn't say that I haven't heard of any of that happening now. But I don't know. I haven't looked too much into it. Right? Awkward silence. I didn't think it was awkward. Do you see anything that you like?
No, not at all.
It's dated the 16th of 2019. Okay. Man, I feel like all the action happens when you get off. Right? Well, no, let's be completely honest. This was actually pretty exciting. So even though I didn't trade it, I felt like, in my opinion, we gave pretty good, I hope, right? Some feedback, right, based off of what was happening. And I could have 100% like played this, but I just chose not to, right? Um, but I was saying that even before this huge thing happened. So as of right now, we're getting a lot of consolidation on crude oil, right? Do you guys see this? Where it's almost trying to find a support. But the last 100%, it's been. I literally think it was like the live stream on Friday, where it literally like I closed out the live stream and maybe like 10-15 minutes after, crude oil played out exactly as we expected. But hey, it's maybe we can try going live at different times, but altogether, I feel like what my goal is every single time I go live with you guys within the Learn Plan Profit team, it's just to share kind of like some insight or feedback that I'm getting from the market, so you can take those like ideas and work with them as the market is going along. So sometimes the best position is to not take one. I like it. Ricky has so much money that he doesn't have to ride the market anymore. I'm sorry, but if I could have played that 10% movement or 12% move, trust me, I'd be all over that. Just imagine that. Like, hit 10%, that'd be my weekly goal in 10-15 minutes. I'd do that in a heartbeat. But again, it's like I did not know that was going to happen. Just go live for 4 hours, Ricky. Oh, that seems like that'll fix the issue. It's hard to stay positive all the time, Ricky. How do you do it, man? Almost every stream you keep your positive attitude. No, first of all, like I feel like I have a responsibility to, like, even when trades are not going according to, I might look composed in the video, but you can ask Weston, you can ask anyone within our team. If I'm having a red day, normally, especially back then, my attitude throughout the entire day would, definitely change, because it sucks. It does suck, but like I'm, growing as a trader like every single day, every single week, and I feel like I've been getting a lot better in, not bringing everyone else.
Oh, on the when you're down.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
In the last week.
2 weeks maybe.
You say 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Yeah, last 2 weeks probably.
But yeah, I mean I want to stay as calm and composed within the live streams, but we all deal with our emotions in different ways. It doesn't, again, it's like when you follow people on social media, it might look, when you follow a couple, right, it might look a certain way, but you don't know what happens like behind closed doors, right? I'm just like everyone else. I get upset sometimes, right, when I have red days, but I'm learning that it's just, more and more as I have more red days, that it's just part of the game, right? But yeah. So how did you overcome your first big loss? Like I've never been, what's it called? I don't know how to like put this. It's like I've never been solely dependent on like the income that I make from trading is something that like, I use to pretty much fund my different projects with like the hard money loans and stuff like that. I've never been, and I just, I've never been solely dependent on that. So the dollar amount that I'm working with, and the, trust me, it still sucks, right? Um, but it's never been like, wow, if I lose even 10% or 20% of my account, that I can't eat this month, right? That would be much more, that would hurt a lot more. So I think, again, like I try to remind you guys all the time of how important it is to not worry so much about what you're trading with right now as you're learning. Because, when I first started, if I was so worried about losing a couple $100 there or trading with everything I had in my savings account, I would not get to where I am today. But it's because I knew that I could grow my account to a much greater dollar amount where, my green days would then be so much in thousands of dollars. So, uh, yeah, I would just say that, like, you need to understand the big picture. You need to, in my eyes, I always had, like, I always understood what my goal was, and it wasn't to try to make the most money now. Even now, it's not, like, people always ask, and you'll see this in my comments from YouTube people from time to time, where they're like, why do you lock in profits at like 1% or 2%, and like, like, you need it, that's not worth it, is what I get told all the time. And it's just like, it might not be worth it for you, but like, I'm still working towards building my account and building my confidence to get to a point where I'm trading with like 500,000 or 1,000,000, and then maybe then I can be a little bit more, like, that would be a huge milestone for me, where like my 1% days then, right, would then be $5,000, $10,000, and what do you do?
I don't know. Like I said, Wes is a savage.
Yeah, I was like, what are you doing back there?
Anything.
But yeah, I think it's just understanding the big picture. There's no reason for you. Watch out for this potential breakout right here. There might be a nice drop if it breaks below this price point.
I'll sell.
But are you in it?
No, this is joking. That'd be terrible.
But yeah, it's just understanding the big picture. This is why I try to empower you guys all the time. To not try to make it or break it now, to not care so much about your dollar amount, and just to enjoy the process. Don't be afraid to learn new things. And when you become uncomfortable, and when you put yourself in a position to like learn new things, when you always just have that monetary kind of like thought in the back of your head, I feel like it kind of holds you back, right? And it just always has you think about that. And trust me, I just think over time, if you focus more on learning and enjoying the process, it's going to be much more enjoyable. And I think that ultimately you can then begin to do a lot better. So, potential rejection, I think you're right on it. I think you're calling it out great. Where solely based off of these indicators, right, and how it's trading, I can definitely see it, potentially get rejected with these different things acting as a resistance. We can see that the EMA line is curling back down. So thank you, Zach. I like that. Yep. And everyone's like, this is one of the last things that I want to share before we close out the video. But what I want to remind you is that, like, the whole purpose, and I hope that this makes sense to you, the whole purpose of you like enrolling in a course, and the whole reason that, let's be honest, like, Learn Plan Profit is not a normal course. It's not just a course that you go through and that's it. I feel like that's normally what happens. It's, I work with you every single day. I put myself to the test every single day, and then we have our group chat where we engage with one another. I don't feel like that's normally what is done. And the reason that I'm sharing this is because, like, I want to be there for you when it comes down to, like, as you cherry pick the series of habits that you find attractive from my trading style. I don't expect you to copy everything that I do. Like, that just doesn't make sense. But I would like, my goal would be for you to cherry pick, what do you like about what it is I do? Even if it's just one thing. What about my style of trading and my approach do you find attractive? And how can you take that little best practice from me and use that as a foundation in which you can build off of to then develop your own style? Like, that's the goal. There's so many different ways to still get the same end result. You don't have to try to copy someone step by step by step by step and hope that, you get the same result. It just doesn't work like that, right? It comes down to being a problem solver, working towards being self-sufficient, and understanding what you are doing. But I'm just here to spark the interest and to hopefully have one little thing that you can cherry pick that, can lead to something much greater. So we are getting a lot of people sharing that crude oil is still selling off a little bit, but yeah. Oh, appreciate you, Eric. Well, welcome to the team. If you guys see Eric in the chat, don't forget to welcome him. I really do appreciate you tuning in, and hopefully you enjoyed it, right? Hopefully that you enjoyed it, and if you have any questions, feel free to direct message me. But one of my biggest tips for all those that are watching that are new to the group, please remember that, again, you have to go through the course and take your time and practice everything that you learn as you're going through it. So, as you're tuning into these live streams, I feel like a lot of those questions can be easily answered within the course itself. But 100%, Randy, appreciate you. All right, here we go. DWC is still trying to push up. I'm just going to watch it and see if I can identify any form of pattern and then kind of go from there. But my main focus as of right now is going to be to see, if crude oil is going to push up or push down. And being completely honest with how much how much this is moving right now, I'm probably not going to trade with $100,000, and that's okay, right? So I'm going to try to be, and just so you guys can see, I'm going to try to be as selective as I can, right? Look at this, the two orders that I took today. I tried to buy 4,000 shares at 384, and look at it now, right? It's at 430. So I missed out just a little bit. Again, really do appreciate your guys' time. I wish you guys a beautiful rest of your Tuesday. Please don't be afraid to be selective. Don't be afraid to not take a trade. When the opportunity presents itself, cool. If it doesn't, then guess what? Take an early day off and just enjoy it. So wish you guys an amazing rest of your day. Like always, continue working hard, continue following dreams, let your passion be your judge and success. Don't forget to follow Weston on YouTube, and you're going to be uploading a new video today, right?
On eBay.
On eBay.
First time ever.
It's his first time ever selling a car on eBay, just because of the type of car it is, and he shares a little bit more about it.
Pretty good video.
Feel free to go check him out. Thank you guys again for your time, and like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy, team.